So your task now, as the one helping the child, you just need to realize it was not your fault. You know, this older person, there's you can liken it to a sickness because those are the terms that a child understands. So mismo, YOLO, YOLO is sick. You know, there's something wrong. It's not your fault, diba? I wish I could have this Lolo also. You know, they can't turn back time, but that means there's something that happened also in his development along the way.
Actually, thinking that was going to be my follow-up question, like how do you explain that to a child? Like, thank you.
Thank you very much. Are there other questions? None? Okay. So, not at all going. Oh, there's that one. Oh, no. Okay. So, oh, yes. We have one question for you. Okay, yes. So, yes, if you want to ask any from Ms. Noemi or from Ms. Ina, then you can just tell us to which speaker you want to address.
Thank you. Ms. Noemi, my name is Kyle Krebs. I'm a third-year law student. Good morning. I just had a quick question about your presentation earlier. I noticed, from my understanding of your presentation, you were saying that with regard to taking back the tech, one of the things that we can do to take back the tech is when somebody posts something to also counterbalance, to balance it out by posting also the other side of the story. In your example of Tim Cumber, you mentioned that he had posted several different blogs that were defamatory, and that to counterbalance that, you also posted other blogs so that he didn't end up on the first page of the Google search site anymore. Now, my question relates to the time difference between these two different posts, because I think that you mentioned earlier something like 40 plus blog sites were posted by Tim Cumber before you were able to post your countermeasures. And you said also that for you yourself, at first when you saw it, you were only seeing one side of the story. And so you also thought that she was guilty. But after talking to her and getting to know her side of the story, you realized that there was another side to this. It wasn't being told. So I think that on one hand, the question relates to this gulf of time between the original poster's comment and then the countermeasure, because I think that for most people in the world, it's human nature that first impressions last. And so the first story that you hear is usually the one that gets believed, right? Right? And yeah, so, and a lot of times, and I myself, I've experienced this as well in my own life, that a lot of times when somebody posts something that's defamatory against you, not a lot of people will go around asking the other person's side of the story. Like this lady that you were mentioning that Tim Cumber was posting about, I seriously wonder how many people actually went to her and asked to hear her side of the story. But instead we just look on Google and see the first statement that's posted there and then accept that as gospel truth. So my question is, how would you address that scenario, both in terms of time and in terms of the fact that a lot of people wouldn't bother to go and really do the thorough research and see the other side?
In my case, I was affected already. That's why I had to go out of my way. Me and the girl was already affected. The time difference, that happened October. I interviewed her April. So this is 6 months, and then there was only one side. Now, the good thing about writing original content is it will always take an upper precedence over content that's always duplicated. So what he was blogging about was always the same content. Now, when fresh content came in, that's when it went to the first page, and we used the keywords he was using. So we have to use the keywords that he was using and use it too in the title. So that's what we did. the time the algorithm was good. No? Now I think the search engine wants you to write original content. You cannot keep repeating the same messages, all of you. So that's one technique you can use. Now about taking the side, that's why we have educating the public to also put your side out right away. The technique here is so that you won't be affected by the negative comments. Get your side out immediately and keep quiet for the next 2 weeks unless somebody contacts you. But do not engage. Just put your side out immediately. Whatever, social media, a blog, Facebook, and people will link to it. They'll be the ones getting your side and linking it. Hey, there's this side here. There are actually some people who will do that and share it. Responsible social media users will share your side. So don't worry about the time difference. It will catch up. All you need is a lot of original content.
I see. So you say that the more time it goes by, the harder it gets, because if you try to get your information out there as soon as possible, but if a lot of time goes by, then other people might already take that as...
Yeah, that's unfortunately, they will take it as gospel truth. Even in the propaganda of government or anyone, you have to always put it out right away. Can't wait for it. But the first one is always a truth, usually. But there's a way to get by it, so don't worry.
And then just one final question, I hope you don't mind.
No problem.
I noticed earlier you mentioned about one of the things that you did towards another person who was being a troll was that you blocked him.
Oh, yeah.
You put him on your block list.
Yes.
And I was wondering that, well, it seems to me, just from my perception, is that blocking someone doesn't stop them from doing what they're doing. It just makes it so that you don't see it.
Yes.
So it's in a way, it's like, you know, there's a stain on the carpet, you put a rug over it, you don't see it anymore, but it's still going on. So
what I do? I really focus on the goal. So if although I look at the negative comments, if it's a lot, if it's saying the same thing, maybe it's right. So what I do is address it, but I don't address it all. I address it publicly. So if I see that thing, so I don't want to feed the troll, but I want to give the information out. See, there's a difference.
I see. Thank you.
Any more other questions?
Thank you very much. Are there other questions? Yes, yeah, one from the floor.
Hi, good morning. I'm Ari. I'm from the Cybercrime Forum, and I have a question for Ms. Ina. Your presentation kind of explored on the psyche of a victim, right? I was just wondering if there are studies, much like Erickson's, that focus on the demand side, the psyche of the masculine and the man, why he tends to victimize. Because I'm trying to engage in a research on that, and if there are leading studies, especially in the Philippine context. Thank you.
Okay, so let me get it straight. Your question is if there are studies, why? Now, the beauty of Erickson is that you can actually apply it also. Because, as I said, we all develop. We all develop in the same way. We all go from stage to stage. So it has to do also with the stage of development and what happened to him in the past. With regard to leading studies, maybe you can give me your email and I will forward you the leading studies on victimization.
Okay, so I'm sorry, just to clarify, all of these, all the crises will apply as well to men.
Yes, it
And
applies to
they're
everybody.
victimized.
Yeah, it applies to all of us.
Oh, okay, thank you.
Now we have a lot of questions for you. Yeah. So for our first question, how do you help children who are victimized by their own family members, like father, mother, their brothers, their friends, and their other relatives? So firstly, I don't know who to address now. But so firstly, it depends on the stage they're in. Okay? Like I said, there are different tasks in different age groups. And the task is also the key to the healing. No? But generally speaking, you have to help the child process, help the child understand what happened, and help the child understand that he or she has power. He has power to change his life. He has the power to not be defined by what happened to him. Kung family member, hiwalay na muna yung bata, no? Hiwalay na muna yung bata. But hindi ma-isolate sa rest of the family, no? Just take away from the abuser and process, di ba? And make the child know na it's not her fault na nangyari yun. It's a sickness, you know? You liken it to a sickness. Those are terms that a child will understand.
Okay, so we have a kind of conversation here. So as a parent and psychologist, what do you think is the proper age for children to join networking sites which opens a venue for possible cybercrimes?
I've actually been asked this a number of times now. This is a very tricky subject because we are in this technology-laden world and we don't want naman our children to be behind, right? I mean, that's true. Children start learning on the iPad now. I know that sa Green Hills, na sila, e-books. And a lot of other schools are starting with e-books very early. And even in preschool, diba, may mga websites na there are programs. So start, okay fine, start early, but guide the child along the way. Hindi mo naman pwedeng ibanin. It's just like junk food. You ban it in your house, then eat it somewhere else. So what you need to do is you make your child strong, make your child aware of the dangers, guide them. Kasi if pagbawal mo naman, they'll just go to a friend's house and do it anyway, and there'll be more danger because they don't know. So networking sites, there are suggested ages by the website themselves. So follow them. Huwag kayong mandadaya na kahit na 10 ka pa lang, sabi mo 18 ka na. Okay? Just follow the and as parents, you guide ever so slowly, but while making them aware of the dangers. Don't sugarcoat the danger. I mean, don't deny to them that there are dangers. Make them see the dangers, but in a language that they will understand.
So, another question. If I have a friend who is thought of as being a victim of cybercrime or real abuse, how can I personally help my friend or classmate in this situation?
Friend or classmate. Okay, so I would think this would be school age or adolescence, no? Unless law student ang nagsulat nito. So either way, it's really listening. Listening without judging. Listening without judging. Not judging. No saying, ang bobo mo kasi. Ano mo kasi ginawa? Diba? Listen without judging. Listen without judging. Because sometimes people just need someone to talk to. Kasi especially mga gantong edad naman, you know it. You know that may mali, you know nasaktan ka. But you just need someone to process it with. Diba? You know how sometimes, alam mo na naman yung decision mo, you know what to do, but you just need a sounding board. So you listen without judgment.
So our final question for Ms. Ina. Do you actually advise a defensive attitude on the part of the victim who is a woman or a child? So does the person have to be defensive, or what kind of attitude should the victim actually have?
Defensive attitude. Okay. I would interpret that in my own way, no? Because defensive. I think, in anything, in any problem that we have, cyber or otherwise, I think the first step is to accept. Accept that it happened. Accept that it happened. Understand why it happened. And take steps now to heal yourself. And take steps for it not to happen again. Diba? So, it's really acceptance, not being defensive. Kasi ang defense natin ng defensive, yung magde-deny ka, hindi ko kasalanan yan, ganyan, yung parang, no, ganyan, you accept first na nangyari, and then now, what? One step at a time tayo, one step at a time.
So, thank you, Ms. Ina. So we have one last question for Ms. Noemi. So the question is, why would you advocate to repeal the cybercrime law when amending it to define the vague portions would already stand?
Okay, since I signed the petition, I cannot talk about it. That's such a busy. But anyway, if you want to look at our petition, I just signed it, and 8 lawyers drafted that. 8 lawyers drafted it for us, and we discussed it for like 2 Sundays, no? If I remember right, why I was for it, because we have to go to the real cybercrime criminals. The problem with that law is that it will go against innocent users of the cyber world, like bloggers, like the takedown clause where they can even without notice, the DOJ can just take down my site or anything. It can be abused. The policy behind it is really good, but you have to look at it carefully. We have really issues on the freedom of expression. Okay, hacking, of course, that's a cybercrime. So there were so many things there that there were 8, I think I remember 8 items that we were against. I really cannot discuss it in detail. It's the 15th petition, and I wrote it in blogwatch.tv, the 8 items. I did not bring my notes there because I cannot make any more comments other than that. So I hope you understand. It's a repeal, but then, of course, if it's being amended, we will still look at it. That's why we came out with a counterpart, the Magna Carta of Philippine Internet Freedoms, and a Bill 3327, which we already drafted even before the cybercrime law was passed. Now, in November 2011, I fought really against it with 4 other bloggers, but unfortunately, I didn't know I had to lobby pala. So I learned a lesson there, and if I am against a bill, I should lobby that. Now I have a new role, blogger, and being lobby this time. So that taught me a lesson. So I'm acceptable to read the amendments depending on what they amended. And I'm not very happy with the cyber, what's this, the decriminalizing of libel. Something's wrong there also. The one that filed them last time. So that's all. I cannot discuss more.
Thank you very much, Ms. Noemi. So that goes for the end of our open forum, or for any questions. If ever you can just address them outside of the forum, if you'll be able to reach them. So to formally close the event, let us welcome the Executive Director of the Justice Cecilia Munoz Palma Foundation Incorporated, Ms. Emily Palma.
It's my pleasure to conclude this forum. First of all, I'd like to thank the Child Rights Desk of Academia Human Rights Center for making the Justice Munoz Palma Foundation a part of this important forum. We're very much delighted for this opportunity, since Justice Palma has been a forerunner in upholding human rights, especially women's rights. Briefly, I would like to highlight the following. First, there is a need to work on what we call net etiquette. It's net internet plus etiquette. It seems that is what Ms. Noemi has discussed earlier. And I would like to reiterate that we use ICT positively and beneficial to the welfare of everybody. That we use ICT to empower ourselves and take action against rights abuses in the web. Second, that there is a need to continue private and public partnerships in the areas of improving the law, policies, and technological capacity to further curb cybercrime against children and women. And third, we and our loved ones can be victimized in various stages of development, and that is what Ms. Kathleen talked about. whether victimized in the real or in the cyber world. What is important though is there's a need to intervene, and it seems that we need to emphasize more on good positive interrelationships and family and support groups. And so, on behalf of the Child Rights Desk of Gatinay Human Rights Center and the Justice Palma Foundation, I would like to express our sincere gratitude to all of our guest speakers, Ms. Noemi Gardiza-Baldado, Police Senior Inspector Joanna Gracia Manlapas, and Ms. Kathleen De Jesus de la Rosa for sharing their valuable experience, knowledge, and insights on this pressing issue. Lastly, I would like to express our sincere appreciation to all our participants here today. I hope you gained a better understanding of the issue, and let us not forget that in this cyber generation, or probably I should call Generation Y and Z, we should use social networking websites and other technology safely and responsibly. We should realize that even with a click of a mouse, we are making a difference in our lives and in the lives of other people. That even if a computer gets in between two human beings, we still have rights to respect and responsibilities to hold. So for that, thank you very much and have a nice weekend.
Well, thank you very much for participating in our forum today. But we all know that as soon as that we go out of these doors, we will not forget the lessons that we have learned from our three very excellent speakers. Personally, I've learned that the internet is our collective responsibility. That sometimes a click is not just a click, a hashtag is not just a hashtag, or like liking a funny picture sometimes turns into an act of violence or a cybercrime. So it's time for us to realize that it is our responsibility to know, to be aware, to take back the tech, to empower our friends, to support our friends, our family, our relatives, and to give and extend our support for all the people who are, who use the internet for any kinds of means. And it's also time for us to realize that sometimes clicking hurts. Thank you very much for attending our forum. Have a good day.